footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Sit next to Rafael Fernandez, and we'll bring you a CFL team preview of the Edmonton Eskimos. Now, Rafael, 7-11 last year were the Eskimos. Tough season. New head coach, Cavis Reed. They got to do a better job of being more consistent offensively, but let's look at their passing game. They have one of the best quarterbacks, I believe, one of the more battle-tested quarterbacks in Ricky Ray. 11 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. I like him a lot. He completed over 64% of his passes. He still has to make better decisions with the football. Let's talk about that passing game. What you think about that?
Well, he's a two-time Grey Cup winner, so he's a guy that's proven it. He's a guy that knows how to win, and he's going to be the leader of that team. So I mean, I look for him to be the leader of the team, and to be a guy that pretty much is the catalyst of that offense.
Now they have another young rookie prospect in Matt Nichols out of Eastern Washington. This guy is outstanding as a quarterback, but they still have Kerry Joseph, so they have a veteran presence back there. If Nichols has to get into the game, or if Ricky Ray goes down, they can go to Joseph, get that veteran in there and won't lose a beat. But they have to improve on 239 yards passing, a game that has to pick up. Now, running the football, I like their running game. They have a great 1-2 punch in Archie Whitlock and also Daniel Porter. Both guys over 600 yards rushing. So we can come at a team with two tailbacks like that. It makes the quarterback play a lot easier.
Yeah, not only that, but when you have two guys that can rush that well, they don't miss a beat. You can have one guy come in and do well, and the other guy can come in and do the same thing. So you really could, you could disguise a lot of plays as well. I mean, because usually when you see a backup running back, you're like, oh, they're probably gonna pass. So, but when you have two guys that are that consistent, you keep the defense on their heels.
Yeah, I want to see them get more involved in the passing game, because right now they're only asking them to run. If they can get more involved in the passing game, they should do fine, because they both have some athleticism. Now, wide receiver core, you have to start and end with Frederick Stamps. This guy is the best pure pass catcher in the entire CFL. Has Stickum on his hand, and he's a former UL Lafayette Raging Cajun. I have to mention that because we all produce good players at UL Lafayette, but this guy is amazing player, phenomenal. 80 catches, 1,200 yards, 5 touchdowns. But the key coup of the offseason was bringing in Darius Bowman, the big physical wide receiver out of Winnipeg.
Well, they have big shoes to fill, because they're filling in for Camo Peterson, who's no longer on the team. So I mean, he has to come in and basically be the man right away. But he has that ability. He definitely does. He's a freak on the field. I mean, he can catch everything, and I think he's going to have a good year.
There you got Bowman at 6'3", 230 pounds. And you have Stamps at 6 feet, 190. Both guys can really catch. Bowman is explosive after the catch. They have to replace Kelly Campbell as well, too. Now, 2 draft picks. They went in the draft with wide receiver. The #1 pick, I believe, is gonna be a guy that's gonna see a lot of playing time, in Nathan Cohorn. This guy, 6'2", 220 pounds. So they're surrounding Stamps, who's a slot back, with physical wide receivers. These guys should have some explosiveness on an offense. That passing game should be very good this year. And Andrew Nawaki held his own last year. Is he ready to be the go-to guy? That's going to be the key, because he's going to be the one that's going to replace Kelly Campbell. Is he ready to be the go-to guy? That has yet to be seen. But when you talk Edmonton, you have to talk protecting the quarterback and Ricky Ray. Let's talk about that offensive line. How well do you feel confident about their offensive line?
Well, I think that last year they could have done better, but I think that this year they signed a former 2011 draft pick, Scott Mitchell. I mean, he's going to come in, and I think he's going to be a solid player for them on the offensive line. He's going to be a leader for them. Yeah,
Scott Mitchell's a great guy out of Rice, and I like their bookends. I like Jeremy Parquette, 6'7", 330 pounds, and also Cliff Washburn, 6'6", 315. So the bookends, they're fine. Interior offensive line play is where they got a lot of pressure. That's the question. But they have an all-star guard in Patrick Kabongo. This guy is another solid player, 6'6", 315. They are huge across the front. I just have a question whether they can protect from the interior. Now, defensively, speaking of that interior, they gave up a lot of yards. You look at 388 yards per game, 6.3 yards a carry. So that run defense took a beating last year. Let's talk about the defensive line. How well you think they can perform this year?
Well, their defensive line needs to basically start from scratch and just get more consistency, because I mean, if you go off of last season's numbers, they were very, very subpar, and they need to improve that in order to compete in the CFL.
Well, they were last in sacks. They only had 31 sacks on the season, so they have to get pressure on the quarterback. They gave up 30 points a game, which put them dead last. So they gave up a lot of points. 48 touchdowns. They give up a lot of touchdowns. So it forced them to be in a lot of shootouts, and that offense wasn't ready to be in a bunch of shootouts, so that defense has to step it up. But they have a brand new defensive line. They signed 2 defensive tackles, Jermaine Reed, 6'4", 275, and also defensive tackle Walter Curry, 6'3", 294. So let's hope those guys can get pressure from the interior and clog up those running lanes and free up some more pass rushing opportunities. But when you look at the second level with the linebackers, I really like Rod Davis. Again, I say this all the time, even on NFL previews, you can't go wrong with the Southern Miss defensive player. Rod Davis is a physical specimen at the linebacker spot, had 56 tackles last year, 6'2", 240, and they bring back Quentin Culberson, another guy that played in the SEC, played at Mississippi State. You can't go wrong with a Mississippi State defensive player. So talk about that linebacker core and what they got to do this year to get better.
I think the linebacking core is probably their best group on defense. I mean, they're going to be the most consistent, and you know, they may not make or break a game for them, but they're going to keep them in it in most games.
If the defensive line can keep these guys off the second level, the linebackers, I believe, have a lot of talent to make plays downhill, stopping the run. And if you can stop the run, you're going to put yourself in a situation where you could get pressure, and you know, you can compete in the secondary. Now, the secondary wasn't that bad. They wasn't just helped. They wasn't helped out by the defensive line. You know, if you can't get pressure, you can't cover. The defensive line, you know, you look at the secondary, they gave up 260 yards a game, 23 interceptions. So they made plays. They just didn't make enough to overcompensate the lack of pressure up front. Now, they re-signed Lenny Walls recently, like in the last couple of days.
Yes.
So that's good because they released him in offseason. He restructured his contract. Getting him back is huge because now you team him up with Chris Thompson out of Nickel State, 6 feet, 200 pounds, physical corner, 7 interceptions. Talk about their secondary. Their
secondary might be the most underrated group in the CFL, if you ask me. I mean, it's one of those things where you see numbers and you say, oh, you know what, they're not that good. No, that's not the truth. I mean, the fact of the matter is they got no pressure on the quarterback, which led to those numbers being that bad. But I think this group can be better, and I think they will be if they get some pressure.
Keep an eye on free safety TJ Hill. They moved him from linebacker. He's another ferocious tackler. So you're going to have a guy that's going to knock the stuffing out of receivers deep in the middle of the field. But David Pittman is also very impressive. So they have a talented bunch of guys back there. And if they can get some type of pressure, it should be okay. Now, what you like most about the Edmonton Eskimos?
I like the fact that they're a young team. They're pesky and they fight. I mean, the quarterback play, obviously I like. I mean, they have a solid starter and good backups. And the receiving core looks like it's going to be pretty good. I mean, overall, I think this is a team that is an improving team. I mean, they have 25 guys that were on the team last year are no longer there. So they've been replaced. So, I mean, I think this is a rebuilding year for them. I got them finishing last in the West because I think even though they're going to probably pull an upset here and there, I don't think they're ready for I think they're ready to compete with the tougher teams in that West.
Now, what I like most about Edmonton, Ricky Ray, Frederick Stamps, and Darius Bowman, those 3 guys are going to be the catalyst for scoring a lot of points. They're going to score a lot of points at Edmonton this year. I also like that secondary with Lenny Walls and Thompson and you know, and Hill in the secondary. So they got a group of guys that are key marquee players. What I don't like is the defensive line questions. Have they really improved their defensive line? Will the secondary still have to make a lot of plays and get put in bad situations? So I'm like you. I think they're going to finish 4th in the West. I think they might finish around the same records, either 7-11 or maybe even 9-9. But by the strength of the West, I think they missed the playoffs by like a game. I'm thinking they're going to go 99-500 in the overall in the season. But the Western Conference is such a tough conference that they're just going to get pushed down. But they're going to score a lot of points. Offensive firepower won't be a problem with Edmonton this year. For more CFL previews, visit footballgameplan.com/CFL or visit our YouTube channel at youtube.com/footballgameplan. And listen to the Football Game Plan radio show, which airs Saturdays 11 a.m. Eastern Time at blogtalkradio.com/footballgameplan.